Positive vibration. Good day to everybody. This is Major. Welcome to Major TV, conjunction with news, facts, and comments, as well as in conjunction with Concern versus Podcast. That's a new podcast that my lovely host Cody and then Jimmy as well as Roland. He's not here. Positive vibe. How y'all doing?
Salute, Shabbat Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep, to all the beautiful people out there. Thank you for joining us.
Positive vibrations. It's Njemile here. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, we do have a new podcast on YouTube called Concern Versus. He's my lovely host, and Brother Roland was not able to be a part of it, but this is really a special presentation where we're doing a live. Please go check out news facts. Please go check out news facts and comments on Black Media website, as well as go check out give them the website Cody of news facts and comments.
That's newsfactsnc.net.
And also again, Concern Versus Podcast on YouTube. I talked about this already. I pulled the video now. I had noise in the background. I wasn't all the way together because it kind of affected me a lot when TikTok took the video down, and it bothered me a lot. That I really wanted my team to come in and we really talk about it, because Umar Johnson had did an interview, and his interview had went viral, right? I mean, in reference to the piece that I'm playing, right? We can hold on 1 second before we go into that. And there was a bunch. I mean, over 111,000 views. 777 comments, 1,631 hundred favorites. It was shared, etc. And before we go any further, please like and share this live. Please like and share this live. It's also broadcast on Major TV, News, Facts, and Comments. And once we play this video, I want y'all to chime in on. I know we talked about it behind the scenes, but I really, what the? And once we play this, there's a delay. Video, I want y'all to chime in on. I know we talked about it behind the scenes, but I really, what the? That's a delay. That's a delay. You hear that? I want y'all to chime in on. I know we talked about it behind the scenes, but I really. Cody, y'all hear that? You hear that?
I hear it.
Let me read.
Yes, I hear it too. So if you have this playing in the background, you have to turn it off. You have to turn your YouTube off in the background.
I don't have YouTube on.
If you have
I don't have YouTube. This is a delay.
Playing in the background, you have to turn it off.
This is a delay.
YouTube off in the background.
I don't have YouTube on.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. Major will be back in a moment.
Yeah, I had to refresh, but I don't have no YouTube on at all. So apologize for that.
Difficulties. Major will be back in a moment.
I do. Yeah, I have a real delay, y'all. I don't have no YouTube on at all. So apologize for that. Major will be back in a moment. I do. I have a real delay, y'all. All right, let me share this. I'm sorry for. I don't know how I'm gonna fix this one. I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna leave out and come back in, and then I'm gonna let y'all can go talking about it. And then we're gonna go from there.
But some white women are fucking fine. They got some. Naturally, some of them have those hips. Naturally, they look beautiful. What's the issue with a black man such as myself? If I know that I'm going to end up with a black woman and have black kids, what's the issue with dating a Sarah or a Jennifer just for a little bit?
When the vegetarian goes into the supermarket, you don't think they mouth waters at them ribs, that chicken, them shrimp, them deviled eggs, that mac and cheese, the greens with the turkey juice? They want some. But why don't they? Because it's not in the best interest of my health. So even if you recognize a white woman may be attractive, it's not within the best interest of the long-term health of the black community for you to marry her, date her, cohabitate. Because even if you date her, what are you sending? What is the message you're sending to all the beautiful young African girls, queens, and princesses in the community? I'm not good enough. You see that? So even in the dating, you're projecting negative energy to the women in your community. Now you say, oh, I just want to have sex with her, have some fun. Well, you better be careful with that, because one phone call and you'll be the next Jonathan Majors. It does not benefit you to go outside of your race. And it definitely doesn't benefit the community. And if we look at this from economics, because ultimately marriage is about economics, right? Mm-hmm. When you die, all of your wealth is going over to that woman. Women live longer than men on average. So whoever you marry, black or white, she's likely to outlive you. It doesn't happen all the time, but in the general average, it does. You're going to leave all this money to this non-African woman, Kobe Bryant, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, right? And we can go on. And these women ain't thinking about putting none of that money back in the black community. Why would you take from us who need so much and give to a group who have already stolen enough? Financially speaking, interracial dating, marriage is financial betrayal to the black community. You are literally stealing from your people and giving it to your oppressor. It's absolutely unacceptable. And what black men don't understand in the dating game is the reason why so many Caucasian women are willing to be seen with black men, even though they don't like black people, is because you are a fetish for her and you're the only man she can exercise control over. The white woman ain't ruling a white man. On average, the white woman does not control the white man. She knows that because he runs the society. But a black man, oh, I can control him even if he make more money than me. Remember a couple years ago, Ezekiel Elliott and his girlfriend on the Dallas Cowboys? They got into a little whatever in the house, and he taped her. She said, call the police. You still black. Yeah, you Ezekiel Elliott, but I'm a white woman. She told him to his face, I'm a white woman. Jonathan Majors, she said the same thing. You're black, I'm white. It don't matter you the big superstar. I will destroy you. Look at what they did to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is the most successful black media personality in modern history. He opened up the door for everybody. No Bill Cosby, no Eddie Murphy, no Cat Williams, no Steve Harvey, none of them. Bill Cosby opened up the door for Richard Pryor, who's the GOAT. You understand me? Look what they did. Look what white women did to Bill Cosby. Money is not power. Status is not power. Power is power, and power comes from the group. And guess what? My people, they own the courts, they own the cops, they own the banks, they own everything. Do me dirty, I'll destroy your career. Look at Tiger Woods. That white woman divorced Tiger Woods. She took $1 billion of his estate. She was a nanny. Tiger Woods' ex-wife was a nanny. She a billionaire now off that Negro. That's why he can't win no more, because he keep thinking about the $1 billion.
That was a hell of a play on her part.
And why do we keep getting played? And do you know why we can't leave the bunnies alone? See, when you say she's attractive, she might be attractive, right? You got some Caucasians who look like sisters. 5'5" thick in the thighs, right? But guess what? Can you really isolate your nuanced attraction for this white woman from the inferiority you've been made to feel your whole life? Can you really separate your nuanced attraction for this white woman from the fact that you have this yearning to be equal, and you see in her, and you see in a relationship with her, the possibility of maybe the white man looking at me a little bit more different? An oppressed person can never separate the consequences of the oppression from any decision they make. From the house you buy, the car you drive, the women you marry, your oppression is always operating somewhere within the periphery.
He said some things, and I took note of some stuff, right? And today we talking about the viral discussion on interracial relationships, and I have my lovely hosts and Jimmy and Cody, and I from just the view of it, listening to it, what you all got from it. In short,
from the perspective of Dr. Umar Johnson, you need to stay within your race. It's beneficial for us mentally and economically, to stay within your own ethnicity. I don't want to say race. I'll say within your own ethnicity. So within your own ethnic group, stick together. And basically, that's securing generational wealth and also a sense of a village, um, village making, community building, to use your words. So yeah, I
For
agree with
me,
Dr. Umar Johnson.
sorry, Akoti. For me, Dr. Umar has been consistent. I've seen him several times in the UK, well, in London, and he has been consistent with what he's saying. But what I like is how he actually broke it down on this occasion, because he related it to the economics of our society. He related it to our legacies and the fact that by marrying out, you actually take wealth out of a community that actually needs it. Um, it was a very powerful piece, I have to say. I totally agree with Dr. Umar, but we have a situation over here in the UK where I know of cities and towns outside of London where there are no black couples. You know, they are one one of very few black couples. There's total interracial dating, and at one point the statistics were 52 to 48 dating out. Um,
Jim, let's stick to we talk the question. Let's stick to the question. We'll get off on that later. I
yeah,
just want to know what
sure.
you get from it directly, which I think you
Well,
answered.
I agree with him, and I like the analogies that he played out there in the statement. Powerful statement, very, very thought provoking, because I doubt people have looked at it from the angle that he's portrayed it on this occasion, because he usually talks about interracial relationships, but he's kind of broken it down and the effects that it can have on the black community. So for on that occasion, I really liked what he said.
But when I was listening to it when I was driving, right, I was working, and when it hit me, like when things hit my spirit, I'm like, damn, he put that in the way, whereas it was in a few words, and he broke it down, which I want to go into that after I give my brief observation of it. I felt like it was just a reality of our situation that we've been dealing with all our life. Like it's like for what I got from it, right? It's like I know I have a friend I'm real close with. He has a urge for white women. He's married to white women, right? And he know my position about it, right? But I don't try to impose, but he know my position and how I look at things. But for me, it's like you understand what he's saying. We talk about the economic part and then the acceptance part. Because a lot of time it does do with acceptance and what have you. And then it's a thing whereas for a long time, white women have been like, like I mean, put on a high pedestal. So from Umar talking about this and then breaking it down, and then me reflecting on whatever happened to black people that mess with white women back in the day and what have you. Even in recent years, you didn't have stories and whatnot. And for me, I just felt like I had to share it. So in short, I just feel like he really gave a very good example why, you know what I'm saying? Um, we should understand we shouldn't get into interracial relationships. And then he also illustrated. So I want to get into some of the things he broke down, but I want to go through the comments because it's going crazy. Like, and I don't know if y'all already looked at some of the questions y'all might want to look at because I won't do everything, but I'm just gonna talk about some of the things. He talked about like economics, right? And he used on the back end after he said was a marriage by economics, which he's been saying that for long. When I first heard him say it was like a year or two on the Breakfast Club when he said marriage by economics. And people ain't gonna lie to you. I never heard that before, right? When he broke it down on the Breakfast Club, I think he changed a lot of mindsets of people. And he said, well, damn, you go to court, what they talk about, who gonna get what and what have you, right? So he coined that, in my opinion, in reference to in our community, right? When you talk about economical betrayal, let's go off into that and whatnot when he meant economical betrayal.
For me, what he means by economic betrayal is that a lot of these wealthy black men marry out. And he referenced Kobe. You can even bring in Tina Turner because her money has also gone out to someone who's not black. So again, on both sides, men and women, because I'm going to be fair here, if they marry out, their legacy and everything they've built goes out with them. One of the people I was actually thinking about when I was thinking about interracial relationships was the example of, what is the name of that actress who starred in Fame? What was her name?
Debbie Allen.
No, not Debbie Allen. She was in the film. She was actually in the film, not in the TV series. But her mother and her father was black. Her mother was white. When her father passed, the mother left the black community where she was living and she went to the white community. But the father was a wealthy man. So she took that wealth out of the community and went back to her own community, as they do. For me, economics is key because we can see how other groups use economics. And if we're consistently, our wealth is being taken out of the community cannot grow.
According.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, as Umar eloquently put it, things that may look good to you may not always be so good for you. So we have to understand the way that the system was set up from the beginning to exclude us from being a unit, right? It's the way that they divided the family since slavery and did it through, dangling just little just dangling it little just bones in front of us, to make us want to separate ourselves and make it acceptable to have our families separated. So I think that we're living in a day to day that where we want to just accept things just because they say the status quo is acceptable. But when you go back to our customs and what's culturally acceptable for us as a nation of people, we stuck to ourselves. If we want to talk about things culturally, as a cultural people, we did not marry outside of our race. And, to do so, from my understanding, when you speak to the elders, to do so, to marry outside your race was considered taboo. And you was almost like basically banned, banned from the family in some areas, right? So, we have to be very, very careful how we began to label these things into interracial relationships. Because when you look at the statistics, and I know you said you want to talk on that later, but when you look at the statistics, who are the ones that are mostly being integrated as far as forming these relationships, interracial relationships? What racial makeup are these people when we're talking about interracial marriage? That would be the question that we would have to ask, because that's on so many different levels based on the statistics that I found. Just question. It's not just, in other words, it's not just a black and white thing. Black people getting with white folks, or it's not, it's not just black and white. It's all
No, it isn't.
that are intermarrying. So it's interracial, intermarrying kind of phenomena that's going on.
But I don't want nobody to misinterpret what Umar Johnson was saying, because we are a human race, right? But somewhere down the line, there was some racism going on, some things that was being said, documented, written on different practices. Like I said, custom wise, I agree with you, custom wise, right? Custom wise, but it was like it was different in ancient compared to now. You know what I'm saying? Entirely different. In ancient, it was more of or it was more of customary, customary wise, customary wise to marry within your community, culture, what have you. But then this day and age is real more racist, motivated. Let me share something right quick. Um, all right. Uh, all right. This is the anti-miscegenation laws in the United States. Miscegenation means the relationship, interracial marriage or relationship between different ethnic groups. And they said that United States and many U.S. states historically had anti-miscegenation laws which prohibit interracial marriage, and in some states, interracial sexual relations. Some of these laws predated the establishment of the United States, and some dated to later 17th century, early 18th century, or a century or more after complete racialization of slavery. The United States never enacted miscegenation laws, and 25 states had repealed their laws in 1967. Now, it just happened in 1967 when they repealed it. And that year, United States Supreme Court ruled in Loving versus Virginia that such laws are unconstitutional, 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Now, there is a lot of things said, right? And I don't read everything, but I just want to share this with you. And I want to share something else on a more of a global aspect. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's just the same thing. They're talking about in South Africa. We already covered United States, you know what I'm saying? But we're talking about South Africa. Early prohibition of interracial marriage date back to rule of Dutch East India Company, while High Commissioner Van Reed prohibited marriage between European settlers, um, Hill slang, same, I don't know, Hill slang, a blooded slave woman that is a pure Asian of African origin. 1865, you got Australia, you have East Asia, you got China, laws and policies which discourage miscegenation, issue various dynasties, including an 836 AD decree forbidding Chinese people to have relations with other people such as Iranians, Arab, Indians, Malayas, Sumatrans, and so on. You got India, North Korea, Europe. You got infamous Nazi in Germany. You got the Jews, Romania, and black people, etc. So I was just lured at Italy, pre-Islamic, Iberia, and what have you. So, and the reason why I'm sharing this because when talking about all of this, I really want to understand that, like Cody was talking about, heritage wise, customary wise, yes. But then when it got to the point whereas, because it's like you said, it's not just a black and white thing. It's almost, and I say universal, almost universal. But what I seen Umar Johnson do was bring things in context, right? And when he went to breaking it down in layers, he showed you the reason why you shouldn't do it. And how the and we're gonna get off to that, right? And I'm gonna just because we gotta get to the questions and stuff like that. I want to cover. I'm gonna talk about things he talked about, like we talked about the negative impact, right? It has on our young queens and princesses when they see a melanated brother with a white woman. He talked about the fetish part. White women have a fetish for black men, and they can control black men versus white men. And he talked about because whenever they have an issue, they call the police. Like he said in executive case, executive Elliot case, she was like, "You black, I'm white." He talked about that, and he also talked about on Jonathan Majors. He said the white lady said the same thing, and then he said, "How can you?" And this is the most critical thing he said. I think your nuance attraction for this white woman, right? How can you separate that from the internal, external oppression you deal with, and that you have been treated inferior all your life? How you can separate that? And I want y'all just can go in and just say how y'all want to say about it. But those are the key points that he was talking about. You know how it make our queen, the princess, feel um, the fetish to control over black men. They can just say they white and you black, and they say you say no, like you said, in average they don't control the society the white man do, as well as separate oppression with the nuance attraction for white women and what have you. How can they do that? So I think them some valid points. Y'all can really let loose on it if y'all want to.
So I'm going to speak from a personal standpoint since I am a black woman. So, excuse me. Hold on one second. So, speaking as a black woman, I can say that sometimes I really do feel offended when I see a young black brother or a black brother with a woman from another nation of people. I really do feel offended, so I tend not to even look at them. I just turn away, pretend like I never even seen it. But something deep inside of me is so resentful that he would even choose to go with someone else. But we can't pick who we love, and so I think that there could be a possibility of a true love being found within another nation of people. So I can only speak for myself as being a daughter of Zion, that it does make me feel a certain kind of way. And as far as women or white women choosing to attach themselves to brothers, then that's part of the human nature too, that you're normally attracted to those who are naturally in power and have natural strength. So as a woman, I can see why they would be attracted to, but the question will remain for our brothers is, why are you choosing to go that route? I've heard several brothers speak about, black women today are too mouthy, are too opinionated. They want to rule over you. They want to tell you what to do. They want to wear the pants. It's a number of different, I guess you could say, cliches that they attach to black women, and that could be a reason why that there's so many white women with black brothers today. It's not so much that white women are seeking brothers out, but maybe the brothers are seeking the white women out too. And it could be some type of status status achievement within the black brothers themselves, saying, hey, I've achieved something that was sort of like the forbidden fruit, so another notch on my belt, and an accomplishment part to say that I was able to knock down, take out this white woman. Because you heard the young journalist, the young brother who was questioning Umar, what he said was not that I want to marry a white woman. He just said he want to get with her and date her. He didn't say I want to marry her. He said date her, and that was a distinction that he made. So you want to lay and play and just play around just to say you knocked it down, but at the end of the day, you can't get yourself caught up like the brother Jonathan Majors and whatsoever. So it's a very, very slippery slope as to how you're going to point the finger if it's coming from both sides. And so for me, it's just it's an alarming statistic that a lot of black brothers are deciding to date outside the nation. And so that's to each his own. But like I say, I wouldn't, just for the sake of maintaining that generational wealth, which Umar spoke to, and also just maintaining the race or the ethnicity of a black nation itself per se. That's my take on it. And now you're the mic.
Hi, Major. Hi, Akoti. My view, how do the Queens feel? I'm quite disappointed because where I live, I see the caliber of women that they choose to ally themselves with, if I can say that. I just think it's sad because the standards that they place upon Black women, they do not place on any other race. And I can see Escape from Alcatraz is saying that you keep on speaking about white women, but it's all non-Black races. And I have to agree, because where I am, it's anyone that is non-Black. So again, I'm disappointed. I do not think they have a sense of heritage or legacy, so much so that the African Caribbean community in England is decreasing because of the rate at which they're intermarrying. The more recent African immigrants into the UK have surpassed us now, but that's because of the rate at which they have intermarried. And of course, a lot of them don't see this. Like Okoti says, oh, it's not about race, it's about who I love. But I can give you a real-time example of a decrease in population because of intermarriage, and that is happening now in the UK. Right. Secondly, the power dynamic. Yes, they know they are in control. They know they can call the police even here, and they can get a brother caught up. Back in the 60s and 50s, when Black Caribbean people first started to come here, what they used to do, I understand, because I don't have, this is what I was told by some of the Black elder women, that they would say to the Black men, if you leave me, I'll tell the police that you've raped me. And the poor Black man, knowing what will happen, had to stay. So there's the element of that as well. So there is that power dynamic. And I've just exampled how it's worked over here. Even here, some of them are still racist, even though they are with Black men. I don't know what it's like in the US, but here, as soon as they have an argument with the Black man, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is the N-word. And I say to several brothers who have told me that this is what happens, I said, you have no self-respect, because the first time that something like that came out of their mouths, you should be out that door. But of course, they stay. So in my view, everything Omar said was on point, and he was just not talking about the US, although he was directing it more at the US. He was just not talking about the US. It goes across the board. And as for the brother that said, oh, suppose I want to play, they say that and then they stay. And that's all I've got to say on that point.
Well said, both queens. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for viewing. This is a viral discussion on interracial relationships, and we couple up with Major TV, news, facts, and comments, as well as our new podcast, Concern Versus. And we just want to talk about it because there was a situation where I shared a video of an interview Umar Johnson was having, and he asked about interracial relationships. The young brother was very, very entertaining, and he asked some strong points. And for me personally, right, and I'm gonna speak for me being a melanated brother. It's been in reverse to me, right? I already knew to stay on the Black side. I already knew, I grew up in the 70s, in the 80s. I remember you go across some tracks with whites like St. Bernard Parish, predominantly white. You went to Jefferson Parish, predominantly white, and you know about New Orleans being predominant New Orleans, right? Predominantly Black people in New Orleans, and you already knew there was a bunch of Black people, melanated people living in a concentrated city that was constantly attacked. You know what I'm saying? Constantly smeared in the media. I understood that, right? I seen situations whereas men getting caught up on rape charges with female they once was dating, white women, right? I watched a lot of stories. I read some books. I seen what they did us and what happened to Emmett Till. You know what I'm saying? I already knew the history about Black men being hung and killed. So for me, just knowing something about my history, I knew that wasn't cool. That was before I even became conscious. I knew that wasn't cool. It was off limits, right? And I still have this mindset right now. That's why I'm so surprised. People my age that still talk about, how they like women. People I know, I be white women, and I be surprised. And like I said, it's not to throw shade at white women or no women at all. I just love my people and I believe in racial loyalty. That's just my position. You know, I'm not trying to force my value system on anybody. I love melanated women. I will never put nobody above Mother Earth, never above the Queen, because they come from the Queens, right? So for me personally, that's how I feel my position. You feel me? But what Umar did was Umar brought real context to a situation that's very low in our community. Not because it's so wrong. It's because of social, political, economical, um, global situation and regional situation that's out there. You know, customary wise, I understand that, but this is real deeper than a lot of this is very rooted in racism, right? So I want to go through the comments, right? I got crazy comments, but I'm gonna go through the comments. No, I won't go. I'm gonna go through the comments last. I'm gonna share another video, right, of my TikTok, and this is very interesting, and you're gonna hear from. You about to hear this from actual, actual, actual children from interracial relationships.
Mixed baby needs to hear this, but it's okay if you drop your white mom. It is. There are so many white mothers who sit here and they have mixed babies and then they literally destroy us. My mom, ever since I was little, has been calling black women disgusting and loud and dirty and arrogant and ghetto, and for some reason she fails to realize that I am the same woman that she is talking about. She fails to realize that there's no difference between us. The only difference is the slightly lighter complexion. That's it. Y'all sit here as white women and you have black and brown and Asian children, and then you literally talk about us like we can't hear you. You talk about how we're disgusting and how we leech off the government and how we're not even from America and how we don't even need to have protests for things because everyone around you.
Hey black moms, I got you for a minute. Sit this one out. Hey yo, white moms, stop having biracial kids. You as funny as fuck to run your mouth all over this app talking about that. Knee slapper, can we talk about how my granddaddy disowned my mom after she had the first of us? Can we talk about how my own mother called me racist towards white people because of Breonna Taylor? At least the black mother would have known how to do my hair properly and given a shit. I am definitely not the prize to the skin fetish you had with my father. You know, at least the black mother would not have invalidated any experiences I had in school with being bullied for my skin color or for looking the way I look. I feel like my black mama would have come up and beat a fourth grader's ass when they called me the N-word. Stop worrying about black moms. They are not failing with the biracial kids as much as you are, okay?
So I grew up with a white mom who did not care. Like, she'll let me run around, like, looking musty, dirty, did not help me with my hair, did not do none of that, did not discipline me, nothing like that. She let my white side of the family put relaxers in my hair, straighten my hair whenever they wanted to make it look better. Told me that I could not go to the high school that I worked so hard to get into because the black girls there would be jealous of me and want to fight me all the time. She'll say things like, oh, it's so ghetto there now because of those people. Oh, those black people make that restaurant so ghetto. Da, da, da. Like, seriously? She also makes very passive aggressive, like, racist stereotype comments about black people. And honestly, it just, like, it hurts my heart because it's like, how could you have raised 8 black children and then have a biracial child and you proceed to still have these notions on black people and you proceed to talk like this and act like this? It's crazy to me. And 9 times out of 10, it's always those white moms who are like, oh, I'm not racist. It's not me. I'm not one of those white people. I have black children. That are the racist ones.
Us biracial kids with the white moms are the most problematic.
No, but can we talk about how us biracial folks, that's me, with white moms can be the most problematic, because a lot of times our white mothers will expect us to take on identities that reflect their own because the sacrifice of motherhood is so severe that they kind of want their biracial black presenting children to reflect their white experience. And I think a lot of folks like me frankly are just unwilling to challenge their mothers and say, like, I love you, but you are wrong. I love you, but my experience is different. And I love you, but I refuse to carry beliefs that are going to be violent towards other members of the Black community because I love my Blackness too much to hold those beliefs, right? And that will cause like a rift with some family members. It has for me, but I would never take it back because I don't want to be one of those people who holds us back.
So I also have a white mom, and whether or not you other half-breeds want to digest it and understand it and take accountability for it is the fact that having a white mom is different than having a Black mom, socially and psychologically. When people say that mixed kids with Black moms are different than mixed kids with white moms, they're talking about the fact that mixed kids with Black moms typically tend to not grow up to be coons and colorists. And where do coon and colorist ideologies derive from? These ideologies didn't just come from nowhere. Who's teaching these kids these things? I'm so tired of saying it, but there are more racist white moms than y'all want to believe.
That right there was directly from biracial kids that come from, I want to believe, a Black father, of course, and their mom being white, and the kids actually called this out. Now, is it like that in all interracial relationship between Black men and women? I'm Black men and white women. I don't know, but the reason why I shared that because it's basically self-explanatory, and it's basically something that Umar Johnson spoke about too, because it was I was giving snippets of interview I was screen recording and then sharing it on social media, TikTok. But for me, it was very alarming. It was very disappointing to watch the trauma firsthand in real time at the time they was talking about it. How they really call their white moms out for the mistreatment and the racism and stuff like that. And it got a nice little buzz on TikTok after I had already dropped the Umar Johnson interview, snippets of it in reference to talking to the interracial relationship. But tell me what y'all think about that.
Well, it just goes to prove that racism is not over with in this system of white supremacy. Like, even though we claim that we have come a mighty long way, because statistics have shown that a lot of interracial marriages has increased over the years, the fact still remains, just as those young ladies expressed, the fact still remains that white women raising mixed children is causing a great deal of harm to those seeds of the Black men, right? And that's just to be blunt and honest about the situation. They cannot nurture a Black child in aspects of Black life because they don't have the same shared experiences. And so that's the type of trauma, the mental trauma that these interracial products of interracial marriages, these children that are products of interracial marriages, that these are the obstacles that they have before them dealing with that, not only getting it from their peers on the outside, but also have to experience such abuse on the inside from their said parent. And that is very, very troubling because at such a very young age, that should be the last thing that should be on your mind, having to decipher if your mom is being prejudiced against you. I mean, like that. Imagine growing up like that. Does my mom hate me because I'm Black or mixed, or does my mom hate my other half of my family? Like, those are the things that would go through those children's mind, and it's horrible. That's why I say that you should think long and hard before you decide to marry outside your ethnicity.
And
sorry, Major, you go on.
No, I was calling you to speak.
Right. What this says to me is that even though they're in Black relationships, they're still racist. They are still racist. And the fact, some of the comments made to the children shows their racism. The fact that they co-signed the racial taunting or ignored it externally. So for me, that is just one reason why it is, shall I say, unwise to marry out, because they're not going to see racism because they've never ever lived it, and they can't understand it. As you say, Akoti, they can't understand it. For them, it doesn't exist. What is it one of them said? My mum said there's no racism, we're all equal in this country. Well, you've never lived in a black person's shoes. You have never ever lived in a black person's shoes. So something like that should not even come out of your mouth first. But it shows the fact that you do not recognize the reality of the system within which you live, that tells you ostensibly we are all equal, but actually it is not.
And the thing is, like when most black men talk about not wanting to get with a black woman because they're so mouthy and they'll mouth off, but nothing I think hurts a black man more than when that white woman, when Mad Day comes, calls that black man the N-word. I think that is more devastating than anything a black woman could ever say to a black man, especially when he's poured into this woman and allowed her to bring seed into this world, have children with this woman, and for her to turn around and call her child or her husband the N-word. I think that stings much more than anything a black woman could say to that man.
But it goes to show the fact that they have an inherent inferiority complex, which allows such an insult, and they remain within such a household, because the majority of them remain. Because she say, "Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean it." And the next argument, she says it again. But then,
that's their rollback. That's their fallback. That's their
Yeah.
fallback in times, like I say, when Mad Day comes. That's their fallback because they are they lack in a lot of areas. You understand what I'm saying? So they are considered inferior in a lot of areas. So that's their fallback to say, "Oh well, you're that you're a nigga." You know what I'm saying? Okay,
Yeah.
so if that's the worst you can say, then that's why they move on. I believe that that's why they move on, because of the simple fact that that's the worst thing you could say. And there's several of us out here. And I guess you figure if it's not him, then it's probably going to be the next one anyway. So we'll stay for the sake of the children, or for the sake of, like I said, having that status that I have one of them, and I'm willing to degrade myself or allow my children to be degraded just for the sake of maintaining that status and being in looked at as being accepted, like Umar alluded to, being accepted by the white race, because hey, now I got this white woman on my arm, so yeah, I can be accepted just like this white man who's running this whole society. If that's what you're banking on, black man, as being your proof of your stamp of approval, then you're sadly mistaken, and probably need to rethink yourself in this hour.
I mean, it is a status thing, I say, and I've heard some black men. I don't know about the US, but I've heard some black men here saying, "Oh, I want a daughter or a son with good hair, so that is why they marry out." To me, it just smacks of pure self-hatred of what God gave you, self-hatred of your mother. And another excuse they use here in the UK is, "Oh, I don't want to date anyone who looks like my mother and my sister." Absolute excuse. Absolute excuse. You want to date out, then date out. Another thing that irritates me with this is, I don't know if you've noticed, Akoti, is that when they do date out, they then get to the airwaves and start to denigrate black women. As you said, we're too mouthy, we're too masculine, we're not feminine enough. Oh, we're all single mothers. And another thing, I have to say this as well. They will say, "Oh, I will never date a black single mother," but they will date single mothers from any other race. And I've seen it happen here. I don't know about the US, but I've seen it happen here.
Yes, it happens here in the U.S. as well, and that's why I said, the mitigated gall to say that, you know, black women are too mouthy, and then here it is, you're taking care of a whole another ethnic family, right? And then when they get off and start mouthing off and calling you all kind of names and making all kind of racial epithets, then you want to cry wolf, like you didn't see that coming, like you didn't check the history. But it's like a surprise. It's all a big deal when we do it as black women. So it's
It,
it's it's,
it,
it's kind of hypocritical on the man's point. And so I really want to hear from Major, because he is a man, and I really want to ask this question. I've been waiting for a long time to really ask this question of a man. Like, why do black men want to have that one-time escapade with a female of another ethnicity?
Well, I can speak personally, um, because it's a forbidden fruit, and sometimes people like to test their limits. And once you see it's not all that, in my mind, then it's just what it is. But for some men, it's the unforbidden fruit. They say you can have it, but you go have it. You know what I'm saying? And that just us being like lions and beasts, trying to be the king of the jungle and what have you, and thinking we can conquer any and everything. You know what I'm saying? Until we get caught like Jonathan Majors, um, or Ezekiel Elliott or something like that, and you realize, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? That's not what's up. But some of us, we have to understand that in our lifetime, white have been beautiful. I mean, the best thing. If you're white, you're right. All this for black. Black cat means something evil. Black being bad. For a long time, we've been taught to look down on each other. The feel we felt the inferiority complex. We it's affecting us now. We can greet each other with no greetings, but when a white person, any other group, oh, how you doing? This, that, another. But you was before that white man, but they don't even want to speak to you. They're looking at you, cutting their eyes and stuff. It's embedded in us, and we don't realize as society how inferior we are. We don't realize how self-destructive we are. Been taught to respond to each other like that. But that's your question. It's just something that, oh, I want to see what's going on with this white girl. I want to see what's up, right? And for some of us, we just because they've been put on a pedestal in this society. Because remember the big thing about the blinds back in the day and all that, now it's just white girls in general, right? And a lot of men minds is like, man, I'm going to smash this white girl, whatever. Like the brother said, I dropped another clip where he said, what if a brother in Revolutionary, he said he's just trying to say, well, I forgot how the brother was asking Umar Johnson. He was trying to say, whereas, shit, I'm gonna get them back for what they did, so forth, so on. Umar Johnson had to respond for that as well, right? But my point, I just think it's just it's a lust thing. It's a thing whereas it was forbidden. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't cool. And we test the walls, and that's one of the most ignorant things we can do or say. But that's really among us. And some of us we've been programmed just they better. You know what I'm saying? That's who I want to be with. And then you have a lot of black men saying stuff like I'm about to go to comments a little bit. They're talking about we can go to comments while we talking about since you asked me that question. Let's just go there. Huh?
Can I also tell you, Akoti, and I don't know if you've noticed this, when I've got on the tube on occasion, sorry, for Americans, that's your subway. I've got on the tube and I've seen an interracial couple, and it's usually a white woman with a black man. And the hostility that I can feel coming off this lady in waves when I've done nothing. I've just got onto a tube carriage and I've sat down. And then all the fawning starts. She starts to lay her head on him, touching him, and looking at me as if to say, I've got him and you haven't. I mean, it's happened. At first when it happened, I thought, am I being overly sensitive here? And then it's happened a few times. I'm thinking, you're putting out a challenge. You're putting out a challenge that I'm not even interested in responding to.
I gotta
because
come in
you
this.
know, once you go there, no, I'm not interested. I'm afraid.
Hey, Jimmy, I'm gonna trip you out, right? Remember, I told my friend. I hope you're not watching it. When I first went and met his white wife, right? When me and Shadi were leaving the door, I mean, she made it so hard. The first thing she did was look at Shadi butt, and it was crazy how she did it, right? And I was like,
Because you see, okay, so that goes back to what these black men are sharing with these white women about black women.
Absolutely.
That what are they sharing? What are they saying? What their pillow talk is like? You know what I'm saying? And what are they sharing about their past experiences with black women, and how is that spilling over to how white women relate
but
to
not just
black
that,
women?
Cody. It's in
You
the
know what I'm
music
saying?
too.
Like for real.
It's in the music too. They're talking a lot about the black women music too. So that's also as compelling. Hip hop also pushing black women referring to their butt and how beautiful they are, what have you. And I'm not talking about the ones that talk negative about. I'm just talking about maybe giving black women praise too in hip hop. So that's a part to it. The conversation, the bedroom. Then when they hear them in the music and what have you. You know what I'm saying?
So in Gemini, that's more like she's jealous of you, and so she's overcompensating by, you know, her actions. You know, so she's really
jealous might be a
jealous.
little light. You might be intimidated.
It's coming off as hate, but she may be a little jade. So I don't know. She's really envious of you.
Again, as I said, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, am I being sensitive here? And then it's happened a couple of times. And I thought, I have no issue. You love who you love. All I'm doing is getting on a tube to sit down to go home. No, I'm getting this lady in my face, just fawning over the man. And I'm thinking, why?
That's why I don't look at him. That's why I don't look at him. I don't even give him that much energy, that much time of day. I pretend like you don't even exist at that point.
I can guarantee, haven't looked, haven't reacted, just got on a tube, sat down, and then I was presented with all this fawning and, as if to say, well, I've got him. So yeah, well.
But let's understand. They are intimidated. They are intimidated by black women, just like white men are intimidated by black men. That's just something that they're embedded with, and they know that y'all Mother Earth, and there is a reason why not just black men, every man wants y'all. And I'm gonna just be 100 about that, whether you want to believe it or not. That's a reality, you know what I'm saying? So they could never take away from y'all, you know what I'm saying? As much as they try. If you walk, I mean, in that light, you know what I'm saying? You represent yourself as a queen, Mother Earth. There's nothing they can say or do, in my humblest opinion. But let's go to comments now of the video I dropped. All right, TB Tiger 65 say, now this kind of along the lines of some things y'all was saying. Think about this: when black women reject black men, it starts there. Never mind conclusion who did and what. I can only say is go back to the beginning, and you're the answer. Wow, he blaming on black women. What y'all say about that?
Well, he's a fool, basically. So what? So one black woman rejects you. So that means all black women will reject you? That's absolutely ridiculous. And again, it's justification for his choices. He's just justifying his preferences.
Wow.
No comment. No comment. I mean, like, I really have no comment for that one.
This is for you, Jim Later. Josh said that Umar probably has no idea about what some sisters are doing to brothers in Europe. What's going on with that?
Load of rubbish. Well, I can't speak for Europe. I can speak for the UK. It's just a preference. And they use this excuse and they say they call black women out of their name all day, every day to justify their preferences. And again, all this is justification. And also, I believe it's the type of women they go for. They're not, I found that they're looking for surface rather than depth. So you never ever judge a book by its cover, but they appear to do so on a regular.
And
then they
complain. Black men, you do have a lot of sisters out there that's on some other stuff that have raised the bar. It's different now. It's more about what you got what kind of money you know. It's not even how you look no more. It's it's like the black woman that like really expect so much out the black man, and I think there's a gender war going on, and I will be talking about that real soon. And there's some black women have raised the bar. They made it extremely hard. I can't say whether they right or wrong, but in some cases I feel like they're wrong because, I mean, it's just a lot.
But Major, again, it depends on the type of black women that you go for. And as I said, when you go for surface rather than depth, you are going to get shallow black women.
These women all over though. They're all over. It's no
Hold
women. It's
hold
black
on.
women all over in different groups. You can be hood. You can be like you a lawyer. They still be on some other stuff.
But again, I go back to it's what you're looking for. And if you're going to go for shallow women who think that you have to have a certain kind of status or have so much money. For instance, I had a discussion with my friend and I said, if I go out with a guy on the first day, I'm not expecting him to pay for me. I'll go Dutch until I realize whether or not I get on with this person, because I don't want anybody to be. I don't want to be.
You one of the few that would say something like Coda, something like that too, probably. But ain't many women feel that way. They want you to spend, and I'm not saying there's something wrong with somebody spending on first date. I'm just saying that's a rare in our community. Just like the hip hop coming from the men that's been toxic, since the women been kind of like doing anything hip hop, they're pushing a lot of narratives too. A lot of young people and women running with it. Not just young, they're just running with a certain mindset towards black men and what have you. And though the black men have really respected the black woman and dropped the ball big time with the black woman, it's not making it better, because now it's a vengeful thing with black women. Like, I'm gonna get at you for what you haven't done or what you should be doing and what have you. Now, was it right and wrong thing? I don't know. I'm just saying, it's out there in the atmosphere like that.
I mean,
so the main thing
sorry,
that's missing,
you go on.
Yeah, the main thing that's missing in that whole dynamic is marriage. Like, we want to play house, we want to play around, and fill our loins and fill our desires. But then at the end of the day, we're not talking about long-term commitment and what it means to build a family. So when we don't have what's a family concept in mind, then we're going to have these conversations of what's really important to black women as far as interracial marriages, how they feel, whether or not they want to be with a white man. So the absence of that conversation of black marriage is what's missing in this whole dynamic. Why can't we stay together in these relationships? Why aren't men proposing in these traditional ways? Why can't we feel comfortable with a man asking a sister out on a date and he actually pays for the date that he asked for? What's wrong with that?
But that's not the problem. But that's not the real problem. It's like men are taking women out on dates. Men are proposing. But a lot of time when people are massing themselves out here, men and women. When you meet them, they put on a good show until you get with them, right? And you're not gonna marry nobody if you feel it's not gonna work. You're gonna, and sometimes it takes longer for some people. But right now, on average, how long a marriage lasts right now on average? About a year or two. People get divorced like this. They get divorced like this.
All I can say is,
and a lot of people cheat in their marriages too. So
all I can say is my experience is, when it comes to black marriages, for some reason we wait for years to get married. But I've noticed that when black men, and I'm going to talk about black men, and I'm not knocking them, I'm just pointing out an observation, that when they get with any other race, they do not keep them for any length of time. They'll marry them in 6 months. My cousin married one in 10 months. And guess why he married her? Because she was in a club and she watched him all night. In 10 months. An English lady. But what I'm saying to you is, Akoti, I agree that marriage is not on the plate. But I also agree that on a first date, I am not, yes, if someone asks me for a date, but my expectation is I'm going to pay for half of that date, because we might not get on. I don't want to be abandoned at the restaurant and have to wash dishes, because I've seen some of the stuff that goes on.
Wait, hold up. I didn't say don't bring no money, sister.
Oh, okay.
I said what about our expectations? Our
Okay.
expectations. See, we done lost this thing about we don't court anymore.
No, we don't.
And courting usually leads to this thing called marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That was my whole point of mentioning why can't a black man ask a black woman out on a date, and that black woman expect that when the bill comes while they out on a date, whether they go ice skating or will they go have a 5-course meal, she's expecting you to pay for it because you asked her out, and she's expecting you to get her home safely. And she may expect for you to do other things, but then that would be her choice. But that goes along with courting. And see, a lot of us feel like if you spend one, a lot of brothers feel like if you feel like you pay for one experience with a young lady, then that's your ticket to being in the bed, and then moving on to the next,
which is why
moving on to the next
pay my way.
that you can have that next date with and pay for that, and then laying with her, and then now we're all out here like this whorish behavior, and there's no marriage, there's no commitment, and that's why Umar Johnson says that you should not even dibble and dabbling with these other nations, because that distracts from takes away from nation building with the sisters.
Let's not get carried away. I don't want to get stuck on this, Jim. Later, I say what you gotta say. We don't get stuck on this.
Okay, we can move on.
It's a whole other conversation, a good conversation. I agree with most of what Cody's saying. Dr. Umar is Creole boy. Dr. Umar is wrong on this matter. We should all be able to marry where we find peace and love. Love is love, and let love prevail. What y'all say about that?
Well, it all depends on where you're looking for love. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're looking for love where there are those ethnicities, if that's where it is. I mean, but you could meet somebody on your job, and if you really, fall in love with this person because you're not out there actively seeking someone of your ethnicity over here, then it's a possibility you could fall in love with someone of another ethnic group on your job or at the grocery store. It all depends on where you're looking for it. And are you seeking it? Are you saying, black woman, I want me a black man? Are you saying, black man, I want me a black woman?
Let me say this. And I need to direct. Let me say this. Umar is just only speaking on the behalf of melanated people because of what we have been through in this racist society, right? And racism all around the world, because he's speaking for melanated people everywhere. And people have to understand that. And like you just say the code, that's true. You love who you love, you marry who you want to marry, but that don't mean that someone can't speak opposing about it, considering the situation like Umar did. All right, Jim.
I agree. Yes, you can love who you love and you can marry who you marry. But again, I think we have to look at the wider consequences. And I told you just a moment ago about the consequences for the African Caribbean community in the UK. It's decreasing.
Well, I mean, that's the whole part of our historical makeup is the whitewashing of the race. I mean, when you look at the state of Africa, the continent of Africa right now, the northern part of Africa is basically whitewashed. I mean, historically that has been a group, nations of ethnicity, is a group of people who were melanated. Now they're all, I don't know what are they now calling it? Vanilla or what? What are they calling it? Olive color? I don't know the heck, but I know it's a
Ivory Coast.
No, I'm saying the color that they use to describe those Iranians and Palestinians. They say
olive and swarthy.
Right, so, you know what I'm saying? So now it's a whitewashing of a whole ethnic group of people.
Ariel Washington.
Say what?
Ariel Washington.
Well, I mean, they were the original Arabs were black. That's the whole. But then we could go down the whole. That's
Well,
a
I'm just
whole
saying, I
other,
get what I'm saying though, but
that's a whole other story. But
yeah, I'm saying, but there's, but they also, even Arabs are white and black with that too.
but
Even
that's
China,
the Arabs were. I mean, the modern day Arabs are a result of whitewashing that particular region of
Yeah.
Africa.
you know why I
Right?
say whitewashing? Because Arab bringing in Arab cultures and ways, just like the Europeans or whatever. That's why I say Arab and not want to say white. You know what I'm saying? Because historically, like it was the Arabs and it was the Europeans and any of the Asians that really kind of have brought their culture and kind of like, in certain parts of Africa, colonizing and influencing them a certain kind of way, whether it's religion, culture, and so forth, so on. A lot of things we think we're doing over here, till we Muslim, what have you, we really practicing Arab, Muslim culture. You know what I'm saying? It's not really authentic Africa,
Well, most Arabs are Muslims. That's Arab is.
What I'm saying, but the bigger problem is they don't recognize with Africa like that. They are a separate, they have people are separated by certain things. So just because they were melanated, if they don't give the motherland their respect, I think it should be questioned. You know what I'm saying? And that's the issue right now today. It's like we don't talk about Africa no more. We think we talk about Africa, we talk about the groups of people and their cultures.
But that's because we don't look at those areas where those Arabs are living. We don't look at them as traditionally being African nations, right? But when you go into the interior of those nations, we are there.
Yeah, absolutely, we are there.
So that's what that goes back to the gist of this conversation. The interracial marriaging has whitewashed and basically is and they're doing it on purpose. The Arabs, they'll tell you straight up, they intend to mix their seed with as many of the other nations as possible, as to spare their ethnicity.
Well, the Romans did, the Greeks did, so that's
exactly.
the reality.
And so that's the whitewashing with the Romans and the Greeks. That's when that's who started the whitewashing.
I'm not trying to dispute about the whitewashing. I was just saying Arabs, Europeans, what have you. Now you won't cup them in the same boat. You cool, you can do that.
Right.
You can do that. I'm not trying to.
Let's do that. Let's throw them in there too. But the whole point is this.
Let's go to the next question that we need to go to.
Let's go to the next question.
Let's keep it moving.
All right, there's a comment by AA Jungle Girl. She said, some black men brain don't see all this and understand. I respect all black men who marry their own black women. One love. What y'all think about that?
Here, sis. I couldn't have said it any better.
Stephanie, Steve, I believe you can find love anywhere, but if someone actively searches for it in white spaces, it should be no surprise. You have searched for it everywhere and all to justify it, but true love, I don't know what you mean by that, but I understand what you're saying. Umar getting a lot of praise too, by the way. He got a lot of praise too. I mean, a lot of praise. I'm just going to the particular questions and stuff or comments people saying.
Well, Bonita Maple says if they marry them, then they deserve whatever comes their way.
That's
right. I got to agree.
That's right.
Look, I'm gonna find one more and we're gonna close out. I really wish we would get it. More, don't miss it. Don't miss at all. It definitely will explain. We have to wake up. They're gonna complete us going through a lot. There's so many comments. There's so much questions. Some people being very sarcastic and ugly. But what's the closing to all this, y'all? Who we getting from this and the response that people are giving? Because it was over 100,000 views. It was like 777 comments. There was some trolling and what have you, but there was a lot of people that spoke up for Umar, supported what he said, love their people, believe that we should stick to our own. Yes, some was like you love, and the other was like, you know what I'm saying, black women ain't, you know what I'm saying, what it is no more. It's about the white woman and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what y'all want to say in closing?
Cody, you can go.
No, okay, so yeah. So in closing, I would say Dr. Umar Johnson was spot on. He didn't miss any words. And so when we consider,
Stop, time out, Cody. We got a special guest coming on,
all
and
right,
I'm sorry,
I
y'all.
recognize that face. Come on
I'm
now.
sorry about this, but me and her have some history. Some about a few years ago, it's a beautiful queen. Her story connects to what we talking about, and I had secretly texted her and called her while you all was talking in the middle of the show. And the reason why I bring it on is because she can speak about coming from a white mom, black dad, and how it was back in the day. And the
Excellent.
lovely
Am I in here?
girl, you in here? What's up, sister? How you doing?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Fabulous.
How y'all doing? Hey, Cody.
Yes.
We having discussion on the viral discussion on interracial relations. And I dropped a clip on TikTok that got over 100,000 views, and it was mixed reactions. And then you had some mixed kids come on and talk about how racist their mind was and how they treated them and so forth. So on. I want you to tell people briefly. Now, do your thing. Tell people briefly about what you told me back then. And I mean, just talk about it because you definitely come from that, and I like people to know about that. And what was your experience like?
I'm trying to find somewhere to sit so I can be comfortable. Um, well, if you don't know who I am, I'm Callie Grio, and I'm black with a black father and a white mother. And back in the 1950s, when I was born, my mother, my biological mother, was with my dad. She had gotten with him, got pregnant. They were not married because she basically caused my brother and my sister's mom to lose her marriage with my father. So my mother broke up the marriage and then had me, and then my father passed away. Actually, they said that they killed him on the operating table because he was getting his tonsils pulled because he was a vocalist. And they saw my mother pregnant with me, like she must have been 8 or 9 months. So long story short, she became a single mom, and the man that she wanted to get with was a white man, and he didn't want to raise a black child. So back then, when you got pregnant, if you were white, they would give you to one of your like aunties or grandmas or something of that nature. They didn't even put a birth certificate. They didn't write anything. They just, so if you have everybody in the family dark skinned, all of a sudden a light skinned one pop up at the end, that's usually because the grandma took that baby in from the white mother because they didn't allow abortions, and the abortions were so expensive. So that was my understanding of a lot of white women. They would come in, dabble into the community in one way or another. You see them still do that. Becky comes in when she's in college, dibbles and dabbles. If she gets pregnant, she aborts the baby and then goes into the white community like nothing ever happened. They just dip in and dip out. That's what it looked like to me. So yeah, that's how they did it back then. And so I was given away. My mom gave me away to an interracial couple where my dad was black and my mom was white.
On how it was traumatic for you as far as you learning about this and dealing with it throughout your lifetime.
I wouldn't say necessarily it was traumatic. It was you know how they talk about kids being confused? Well, the confusion in my mind starts with the white parent telling a black child that they're mixed. The racism's right there off the rip. Why would you tell me I'm mixed?
Mm. Mm.
What makes a white parent tell this black child that they're mixed? That's white supremacy right there. You're trying to separate that child and uplift that child above members of their own tribe, you know? So put it this way, one time there was this brother that he called himself, he didn't identify. I'm not black, I'm not white. He was kind of like Obama, raised by two white grandparents and a white mother because his father was incarcerated. So he kept saying he wouldn't identify as black. And everybody that looked at this man saw a black man. And so I helped him buy a car, you know, hustling through the paperwork and doing a deal. And I said, so where are you going to go? He goes, I'm going to go show my grandparents the car. I said, well, do you have your sign? He goes, what sign? I said, that sign that says, don't shoot, my mama's white. Yeah, you better know who you are and who people see you as, you know, because that whole identification starts with the parents. How do you identify? Well, luckily I had a what they call a black militant father. So that really wasn't an issue as far as my dad had, you know, was from Louisiana. And so he had sisters that were like white, but on their driver's license, on everything, it said Negro. They didn't play that passing stuff. Some people did, some people didn't. If you're not familiar with these old movies, there's an old movie called Pinky. And it's about passing. There's also a documentary called Secret Daughter. And this was about a white woman that has a black daughter, and she gave her daughter away to a black couple in New Jersey, and she moved out to California and got into the Hollywood scene and didn't want anybody to know she had a black daughter. So she said she adopted, or she was caring for this black child that came in the summertime. So this little girl would get on the Greyhound bus from New Jersey to California. And one time she messed around and called her mom, and her mom popped her in the mouth because she's like, we will lose everything if they find out that you're my daughter. So there was a lot of hiding. And that, you know, anytime that they don't want to talk about a family member because they're black, yeah, that's it. That's hurtful. You know, they don't want to talk about you, or they whisper, or you know, different things like that. Kids can be real cruel too. You know, but
see the Cali Grill?
Where did all the ladies go?
They're right there.
I'm here.
You have any questions?
Well, I have not a question, but a statement, because I saw something on, I think it was on YouTube or TikTok, where there was a lady saying, look, you know, I'm mixed. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm mixed. And she was being celebrated in the comments. And she's saying, why should I deny my white side to be called black? And I thought in my head, it's not you denying your white side. It's society denying that. But of course, there was a lot of comments is, oh, I'm so glad that you said that I am mixed. I'm not black. And I thought, maybe you need to wake up a bit and stop seeing.
The whole point of that is power.
Yeah.
If in the United States, they've got it now. At one time, the population, the census was black, white, and non-white, which meant Native Indians. Right. Prior to the 1980 anything prior to the 1980 census, that's what you would see. So if you're trying to get okay, the population for the electoral college is based on your population in each state. So now you have me saying I'm mixed. So now the black base is splintered.
They do that here in the UK.
They
Our
do
black
it to
base,
splinter us. They do it, and it's done deliberately. It's
of course.
part of that Willie Lynch crap. It's still colorism. It's still part of Willie Lynch. They just remake it, even if it's done in the algorithms. You know, they redefine it. They're very they have no skill, no talent in creating things, in my opinion. So what they'll do is they will keep the same blueprint, like from Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel. Change your name, change your food, change your philosophy, change your language. And they're still doing that.
So in the UK, we have African Caribbean, African, black mixed, black other. Those are all the definitions of black. If you total them, it's just all black, but they do have those divisions within black. So they have done it here.
If you look at it now, they're including the Arabs, the Egyptians, any North African as white here, any Mexican. So all this so-called immigration, the Mexicans are considered white. So whenever you look at, like, anytime there's a disaster, I will look at the racial demographic. And once I started doing that, you could see how they will include Latinos into the white. So it'll be like 40% white. And then they'll say non, I forget how they said, non-Latin, or they got some little phrase. So that eventually they add the numbers together, so they got more white people.
Yeah,
because they're not reproducing.
So they say white here, and then they have white other, white Eastern European, white. So they have several subdivisions of white. So they don't just have white, they have white, and they have subdivisions because they have white other. I think the USA could learn from its mother, don't you think?
Well, I think, like I said, the whole purpose is to create division, because, like I said, if I call myself mixed, I've divided myself from my own people.
But some mixed people are celebrating the fact that they are mixed. As I said, I saw
you're not mixed. You want to keep how they say, fuck around and find out. They'll fuck around and find out who they are. Let them kill a white person and see what they are when they go to trial.
Right.
They could be light, bright, almost white, like my daughter. That's what I tell her. So I used to believe that black was so powerful that because of the one drop rule, you couldn't get rid of black. Oh, yes, you can. So my father married a white woman. I married a white man. Not now. We stayed. That was from high school. Okay.
8 years ago. Yeah.
So then my daughter married a white man. So after 3 generations, I have a granddaughter I call Blondie, straight blonde hair. You if you don't know her, and if you're not from the South, you don't realize she's black. And I tell my kids all the time, don't forget where you came from, because when there's another Hitler, that one drop will put you with us. Don't forget where you came from, because when they drop those categories, they'll forget all about all them subcategories, and they'll go back to black and back to white. The Latinos that are dark will be with the black people. So they're all abstract conjugations anyway. You know what I mean? They're not real. So when we decide what we want to call ourselves, if we could ever decide, because I think it was a Cody talking about all the different names. Like sometimes I'll say melanated or copper toned, or, because people don't like black. If you look up the definition of black, I took are you familiar with Ebonics, y'all?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Dr. Ernie Smith was a linguistic professor out of University of Irvine that taught Ebonics, and I took that class from him, directly from him. And so the whole reason it's called ebony and phonics is because of the negative connotation to black. So if you start saying black English, you've already said it's not good English. It's not good. Black, wicked, awful, evil, horrid, you know. Then you look at white. What is it going to say? Angelic, pure, all that, So you got to expect that to be done when they're always going to be keeping a psychological control. It's a psychological manifestation. They even use our own magic against us. They use our own religions. These religions that, you get down to it. And if you look at Harry and Meghan, well, I kind of find out King James was a Jacobite. So that means Queen Elizabeth was a Jacobite. So she had white makeup, white face, and that red Aborigine black hair. And so what? To me, Meghan and Harry's little girl looked just like the first Queen Elizabeth. Fair skin, that bright red hair with black blood.
Well, the Queen has black blood in her anyway.
Oh, I know, hon. Oh, I know. Trust me, I know about their whole. Pardon?
I just
Queen
wanted
Charlotte Sophia of Habsburg. She was actually mixed race.
Well, it wasn't just Charlotte. It goes all the way back to Charles the First and Charles the Second. It goes all the way back to those wars back then, because all of Europe. Okay, if United States.
Grill, get that printed out, but we got to get back to the topic at hand. We about to close out, So I want to finish that.
Well, this is kind of it, because even in Europe, okay, all those castles, those were ours. We built that stuff. We were there for 1,000 years. The United States been in existence for about 250 years. Okay, so 4 times as long. And because of racism and when you see the Inquisition, that was a genocide. Black people were in control, and they were pushed out of their land and everything. And they just assumed the names, just like they did in Nazi Germany. So like I said, this stuff is just repeated and repeated. The Pilgrims were pushed over, so they were the Moors. You have all these ideas about white pilgrims. Those were Moors that were kicked out of their land. There were lords and all the different titles they had. And you look at what is it called? The Dutch, the Black Dutch, what's that? The Santa Claus. And then that blackface that they do, that's showing how they pushed all the black people out. They told you they came from prisons, they were sick. What do they always say about us? Those were descriptions of us. So the mixed race, even in the British, like she's saying, all the magic, Merlin, all that, who's always been the magicians? Who's always been the healers, who's always known the plants and the herbs and the potions and the dust. That's us. Those stories are about us. So this mixing of the races comes from every time you get conquered. They will kill the men and rape the females. And then what? They put the children of the conqueror, they will put his child in charge because he's mixed race.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's how they keep that, what you call that center level. That's their glass ceiling.
Ooh, Cali Grill. Where people can look you up on your social media, whatnot, because this is a very profound sister. I will have on my channel soon. We be chopped up a lot on offline and whatnot, but Tell people how they can check you out because you always dropping information.
Well, I haven't been doing too much. This is really the first time I've been online in a while because my channel got hacked some time ago and I got a little discouraged. But you can find my products, my jewelry. I make all my own jewelry. I don't know if you can see. I'm always pumping my jewelry.
Beautiful jewelry too. I bought some jewelry. She gave us some jewelry too. Some nice
And,
jewelry. Yeah.
you know,
Big beautiful jewelry.
and then I make creams and rubs that are all natural and they're anti-pain and anti-aging. I'm 67. So you go to Sweet Butter 17 on Instagram. And that's where I still do politics and stuff, but I started a new one that's Cali_Griot Instagram. I'm sticking to art, music, and design and business on that page because I got too political on my other page.
Well, look, we're going to catch up. Then you're going to catch him. We'll call you a little later.
Well, ladies, it was nice meeting you.
Lovely speaking with you as well.
And thanks for inviting me, Major.
It's all love, sweetheart. We're going to talk.
And I'll see you again. I'll tell you more of the story. I'm a...
All right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want a whole different segment. We can sit down and dissect and just let you just release. You can come on a podcast. This is our podcast we doing on Major TV, but we got a podcast we started on YouTube called Concern versus Podcasts. And generally, according to myself and Roland. He's
okay. Looks like my batteries are running out. So be blessed. Shalom. And I'll see you next time. Thanks again.
Shalom, sister. Peace.
Shalom.
Yes, so I had to bring the sister on. I'm sorry for bringing the surprise, y'all. I had to bring her on because I know she could speak firsthand about it. And so with that being said, on the closing, what's your remarks about everything? I think we had a good build, good conversation. We got on certain levels. Sometimes we're a little left, we got back right though.
Yeah, but that's what it's all about, understanding how we feeling in this time and things that affect us, man. Like thankfully I am married and been married twice, so I tend to have I guess a little bit of skin in the game when I can say I speak from a perspective of how that makes me feel, being secure and knowing that I can feel safe in my relationship without having to feel like I'm less than at any point in time. And so the mental healing that needs to take place as a result of all of these different interracial marriages is wanting. Like people are not talking enough about the mental stresses that the seed or the product of interracial marriages has the detrimental mental state that has those children in. No one is addressing that, and I think that needs to be addressed. As far as the choices that our Black men are making, I think that Black women should very much let their voices be heard and let the Black men know that we are there for them and that we can be everything that they need. We need to reassure them of that, and perhaps maybe they will not find themselves in a situation as a Jonathan Major. We let's not continue to be hateful or and I'm speaking as a Black woman. Let's not continue to be hateful towards our Black men because they do choose another race. Let's just begin to assure them that we can be better as women and do our part in protecting our legacy. That's our children. That and not messing it up when we do have a Black man by running off at the mouth, as they like to say. So that's my final thing on that. So shouts out to you, Major, for sharing that video and getting involved and having this very useful conversation. A lot of people have to think about, that, especially if you're raising young men and if you're raising young women, how would you feel if they brought someone from another nation into the doorsteps and saying, I think I'm going to marry them? How would that make you feel to have grandchildren or relatives of another nation? You know what I mean? So that is something to consider. But I love you all with the love of Yahuwah as usual. Thanks for having me on this topic, Major. And Gemini, it was good to talk to you again, my sister. Your voice is always appreciated from that perspective, coming all the way from the UK.
Thank
You so much,
you.
sister.
Thank you. My last thoughts, Major, is that in any relationship, you have to compromise. Imagine what you have to compromise in that type of relationship. And as Callie herself said, she did not think that the black gene could be erased. But then she talks about her grandchild who actually has blonde hair. So it shows that it can be. And I think when you're entering into that type of relationship, you also have to think about your legacy. What will be your legacy? Um, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with interracial relationships. There are lots of flaws. I just think that some people use it to denigrate people of their own race. Some people use those type of relationships because they have preferences and make excuses about the black women. And it's all about the black women and denigrating the black women and forgetting that they actually come from a black woman. What Umar said, he was spot on. It was powerful. His analogies were just, the analogies were just so perfect. And he's not said anything different to what he's usually saying, but it was the analogies and the perspective that he gave it on this occasion that makes it so powerful. A major thank you for having me on, really appreciated. Akoti, brilliant talking with you, sis. Let's keep this going.
Well, I want to thank both of you all for just being a part of this. Shout out to Roland. He's not here, but he's a part of Concern Versus. This is a Concern Versus podcast live. That's live on Major TV, News Facts and Comments, and the Cody Speaks all on YouTube. For everybody viewing, thank you so much. Thank you for the commentary. Sorry we can't get the comments. Time has been passed by pretty fast. We closing on 2 hours. For me, I appreciate y'all being melanated queens, giving y'all input as well as y'all understand about everything, and as well as sharing the discomfort, but as well as the reality of why the racial relationships in our community um doesn't do as well when we consider the big picture of what have happened to us, racism, how we've been treated, not just domestically, I'm talking about nationally. And even in the motherland, it just show you that to be strong as a people, we have to invest in each other and investing in black family, invest in our community on respecting melanated women and melanated men and building strong foundations is a guarantee of success as far as the community. But as we see as a divide in the community about this, or you have your younger generation that look at things entirely different. I think it's based upon the fact of they not really caring, not knowing too much about history, and this just being a new age of young people that is just caught up in social media and all kind of stuff that can be very distracting, very misleading, as well as a place whereas they think is refuge to just say and do what they want, all the while they're being manipulated to represent something that's entirely against what we're about. And it's just about just look at our situation. Our situation as a community do not look good in reference to how we're treated. Not in the States, Ireland, UK, South America, the motherland, what have you, wherever your melanated people at. Just look at it. This colorism thing, black and white, and every ethnic group is an issue. Asia, Africa, North, South America, the islands. Um, we have to understand this is a real situation. So for me personally, that's why I'm not supporting it. That's why um, it never was something I wanted to do, something I wanted to be involved with. I'm not in the business of trying to, like Cody said, we're not in the business of trying to put nobody down. We're not trying to, like just say negative things about people that's doing that. We just saying that's not us. And again, going back to Brother Umar, it was basically hitting the hammer on the nail and addressing the reason why he's against it, and he suggests that we understand the importance of our black queens, our black princesses, and the black family. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. It's not saying that we hate white people, hate anybody. Even though I believe after all what have happened to us, we're a reason to, what I'm saying, have some hate in us and what have you. Again, I want to thank Callie Grill for coming on the channel. I really, really appreciate this sister. She's very, very wise. And she's gonna be on the channel. She's gonna share some more wisdom with us. But she goes really deep. She do a lot of research. She sends me stuff almost every day. She said, "Let's talk about the effects of racism on black children with parents of another race." Callie Grill, you gotta catch the middle of this podcast where you actually showed biracial kids complain about their racist mom. So you might want to catch the middle part of it when we share the video, what have you. But you may want to go to the beginning. We covered that. We really appreciate you coming on, sister. No such thing as mixed race. Let the police draw down on you, and they seem to recognize black people when I'm talking laugh out loud. So I mean that's real talk. So in essence, I support what Umar said. What he was trying to put out there in context, and it was not the offend. I think because at first TikTok had took the video down, and then when I appealed, they put the video back up. And I was just saying, it's a intelligent brother assessing the situation due to racism and whatnot. That the right to our First Amendment right to freedom of speech should not be violated, and they wind up, releasing the video and letting it play, and they got over 100,000 views. So again, I want to thank you all, sister. I want to thank everybody viewing. Please like and share. Go to our new podcast, Concerning Versus podcast on YouTube. About Made TV. About Cody Speaks. About News Facts and Comments. Like and share. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We drop content all the time. We really appreciate all love and support. We appreciate you. Continue to support the channel. Continue to support the platform because we're really doing big things. So y'all take care, stay focused, and just be you. Peace.
One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run this town. One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are now tuned in to the greatest. The greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run this town. One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down.